Hi, my name is William Lamb, and in this demo I'll show you how to use the new vCNS 5.1 to configure a load balancer to load balance multiple vSphere web client servers. We start off by creating our new Edge gateway device. Here you'll specify the name and host name. For our deployment, we'll call this vShield-Edge. I will also enable high availability for our vShield client to ensure that we have redundancy. Next, you'll go ahead and configure the CLI credentials. We'll go ahead and leave the defaults and just enable SSH access. Now we'll configure the size of our vShield appliance. We'll go ahead and stick with the size compact. Next, we'll need to tell vCNS where to deploy our vShield appliance. Here I specify the cluster, a data store, a host, and a folder. In this screen, we'll go ahead and configure our Edge gateway interfaces. The first interface will be our public interface. We'll go ahead and call this Web Client-Public, and we'll use the type uplink. Next, we'll need to select the port group in which this interface is connected to. Then we need to configure the IP address for this interface. We will also create a secondary interface. This will be your internal interface that talks to the vSphere web client servers. We'll call this web client-internal and we'll specify the type internal. You also need to specify the port group in which this interface is connected to. And finally, configure the IP address for this interface. So here we can see we have our public interface and our internal interface. Here we specify the default gateway for our public interface. In this screen, we have the ability to configure additional firewall and HA configurations. We'll go ahead and leave the system defaults. Here's a summary of all the configurations for our vShield Edge deployment. Go ahead and click Finish. And now your vShield Edge appliance will be deployed. The deployment will take a few minutes. Once the status has changed to deployed, we are now ready to configure services on our vShield Edge. Go ahead and click on the actions and click on Manage. Here you can see an overall summary of our vShield Edge. At the bottom you can see the two vShield Edges that were deployed. Next, click over to the Firewall tab at the very top. We have some default firewall rules. The first one is for internal VSC and it's accept all. The next one is for high availability traffic, which is also accept. And the final rule is to deny all other traffic. We'll need to create a new firewall rule for our vSphere web client. And then we'll specify the service as HTTPS. Now click Publish to save the settings. Next, we'll head over to the Load Balancing tab. We'll create our load balancing pool for our vSphere web client servers. Here we'll give it a name, vSphere Web Client Pool. This pool will contain all of our vSphere web client servers. Next, we specify the service. Here it will be HTTPS and port 9443, which is used by the vSphere web client. We also specify 9443 for the health check. And for the URI, we need to specify vSphere-client. Now we add the members into the pool. Here you will specify the IP addresses of the vSphere web client servers that you wish to put behind the load balancer. In this example, I have two vSphere web client servers. And here's a summary of our configuration. Once you're done, go ahead and click Finish. Click on Publish Changes to save your configurations. Next, click on the Virtual Servers tab. We now need to associate an IP address to our load balancing pool so that it can be accessed. Start off by specifying a name. Here we'll call it vSphere Web Client. Next, enter an IP address. This will be the same IP address used for your public interface. For services, we select HTTPS and port 443, and then go ahead and click Add. Click Publish Changes to save your configuration. Now head back to the Pools tab and click Enable. This will enable the load balancing service. Remember to click Publish to save your changes. Once the status shows up, we're now ready to test our load balancer. Go up and fire up a browser and connect to the IP address or hostname of the public interface. Here you can see that we're automatically redirected to one of our vSphere Web Client servers. We go and log in. And here we can see that we have 3 virtual center servers. In summary, we've shown you how easy it is to use the new vCNS 5.1 to create a load balancer. Hopefully you enjoyed this demo.